Hello, everyone. My name is Daniela Atencio. I'm a faculty at Los Andes in architecture. And we're here with Madeline Gannon, our special guest. She had an amazing keynote this morning. And we have some questions for you.
Sure.
So we're very curious about the relationship. Actually, I have that relation, but I want to know your opinion about architecture and robots. How do you see that connection between the architecture and maybe another discipline, or including that kind of technology in the discipline?
I think of architecture as anything that has to do with space, how people occupy space. And so more and more, our digital technology is entering into our same physical spaces. That's the cornerstone of robotics, right? It's these machines with digital brains, but physical bodies. And we see in cities, in sidewalks, in skies, more and more, there's more robots living amongst us. And so I think architects should come and have a say and bring the huge 500 years of disciplinary knowledge into the very new fields of technology.
It's very interesting how maybe it's another kind of a space, or as a way how we design space in another way, right? You talked about this morning also about the process in your projects. I was wondering if in that process, how do you see the iterations? Like when you have an idea and you complete it, do you iterate in that process, or you go straight like to complete that idea that you had in the beginning?
No, for me, it's constant iteration. So my process is to get something moving and working and in front of people as quickly as possible. And I've come to accept like the limits of my imagination. And I usually need to see something or see how people react to it and be inspired by that. And that to me is so critical. So if I know what the outcome will be when I start, I feel like I'm not thinking far enough into the future. I usually set a North Star, something that I'm curious about, something I want to move towards, and then put it out in the world as quickly as possible and start to see if, hopefully, in the best scenario, there's something else that I'm inspired about that I never even thought about.
And in that process of iterations, let's say, do you like to do it like in physical, or it's more like iterations in digital, and then you go to an exhibition and you complete the project, or do you like to do like that kind of test during your process, during your design process with people, or do you include that in the?
There's a lot of that, yeah. But sometimes it's like the first project I showed with the 3D printed necklaces. That was a complete accident in my code. So I was making this modeling system, and I wanted to extract something through time, and I forgot, this is gonna get very technical, very nerdy, I forgot to clear the array. And so it copied another one, and then copied another one, and copied another one, and it was like, that's not supposed to work like that. I did something wrong, but it looked so cool. Like it was something I didn't anticipate looking at. And then usually when you work with 3D printing, you're supposed to Boolean everything together, clean up the geometry, and like have to do a lot of computational heavy lifting. And I'm like, well, why don't I just try exporting it and printing it? So I'm sitting next to a printer, why don't I just try and see if it works? And it worked perfectly. And so I was able to like just discover a new way of doing something through all of the accidents and errors that I had actually programmed in. So I find oftentimes, even with working with robots, there's a lot of things that you can consider errors that are actually these new doorways of curiosity that get open that I can go wander down.
That's amazing. And one last question. So what do you think? I mean, we love your presentation. We see like a creative process, a creative idea, a creative result, and everything. What do you think will be like the next steps in your project?
What do you mean? What do you mean? Tell me more.
For example, what are you thinking for your next, project? I think you mentioned a little bit of the cranes, maybe it's the size, or I don't know, what are you thinking to go further in your career?
For me, I think I've gathered a lot of knowledge, and I think now it's the time to give it away to help other people begin to bring their own voice, their own perspective, to begin to influence how the technology goes into the world. We've seen like the past 6 months, there's been so much change and progress in artificial intelligence and robotics. And the engineers, the scientists who are building these systems, these tools, the ceiling is so high and there's so much creative potential below it for all of us that have much different agendas than Silicon Valley developers to begin to explore and see where the unique attributes can be to push our society forward.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much,
My
Madeline.
pleasure.
Thank you,
When can I
everyone.
come back?
Next month.
All right.